It's an unspoken language in the borderlands, one of dust just before the rain, one measured in water and lack thereof, a story of resilience and tradition, lived over and over again. Each revolution different than the first. This is our home. Welcome to New Mexico. It's time to pass the sopapillas. Join us for a conversation between New Mexicans who are doing work worth talking about.
We made sure that that seed was guarded and protected in any way we could.
Environmental justice is truly a movement to really fight for our fundamental human right to clean air, clean land, and clean water.
That's what I think about New Mexico, is home. We always gonna remember that the best cooking happens at home.
With conversations hosted by State Poet Laureate Manuel Gonzalez and presented by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. This episode takes us for a journey through New Mexico's land as we explore its significance, utility, and sacred nature through the lens of 3 different guests. Are you ready? Pass the sopapillas.
Welcome. Thank you for spending time with us today and sharing your energy with us today. My name is Manuel Gonzalez. I'm the New Mexico State Poet Laureate, and I'm going to be your host tonight for our Pass the Sopapillas podcast brought to you by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. Our topic today is going to be the land. And here in New Mexico, the land is very important to us. The land holds memory. The land holds history, and the land is sacred. From the seeds that we plant in the soil that we pass down through generations to the fact that our families come together to clean out the acequias and the ditches so that we can have water and water our little plants and milpas and gardens that we have. The land is very important to us here. And today we have 3 of the most amazing culture protectors, innovators, and creators in that way. And we have 3 people here to share not only their work, but their spirit with us and hopefully inspire us in that way. I have the privilege and honor to introduce to you Aaron Lowden, Dr. Virginia Necochea, and Eli Cuna. If you could please open your heart to our first guest today, Aaron Lowden. Thank you for joining us, Aaron. Now, could you please do us the honor of introducing yourself and telling us the kind of work that you do?
Yeah, definitely. Well, koatsi hopa, keto hopa ti trajoshk. Watona me koi este koi hanustish, Aaron Lowden medicanashi este. So, greetings out there, everybody. My name is Aaron Lowden from Acoma Pueblo. You can also call me Koi. I've been engaged in food systems work for over 16 years, also seed sovereignty work for 16 years now, under my role right now currently as the Ancestral Lands Farm Corps Food Systems Program Manager. And we are geared towards seed sovereignty, bringing back our seeds, growing the next generation of farmers, bringing back our original foods, and kinship building, alliance building within our community, but also intertribally.
Oh, that's inspiring work. Tell me why protecting our seeds is important like that.
Yeah, so I came into this work just really just wanting to give young people an opportunity. We started our program, the Acoma Farm Corps, back in 2011. And in 2011, we didn't see too many people growing anymore. All of the farmers were probably over the ages of 40, and there was probably only about maybe 11 to 14 farmers that did it consistently every single year. So when you lose the farmers, the people stop growing, then you also lose the seed. And the seed is also a resource that needs to be regenerated. You know, these seeds only have a certain amount of shelf life to them, and they need to be brought back to life and renewed again. And so when we lose the seeds, these seeds are beautiful, ancient technologies. They're a vibrant story of our past and our future, all in one little, being. And so we see them as our children. And we forgot that value along the way of, modern life and conveniences and access to food. And so when we started doing this work, we started looking for our seeds to grow. And very few people have them. Thankfully, one of my mentors and even my mother, both family members, my uncle, his name was Yaina, Ron Charlie, and my mother over there, Roberta Charlie. They're both big avid farmers. My mother was definitely into growing fruit trees, and all of my uncles were farmers. They grew up doing that lifestyle. They literally grew up in an adobe home, with no running water, electricity when they were younger. Eventually they got those amenities, but they gathered rainwater in cisterns. They farmed every single year to however 150 heads of sheep, back in the day. And so now it's a pretty different far cry from like what we have today. A lot of people didn't grow up like that, and very few people have the seeds. And so thankfully, people like my uncle were carrying these seeds still. And there's also seeds that have been displaced from our community that were taken from plant conservationists back as far back as the 1930s and 1950s. People thought the same way they thought indigenous people and their cultures and languages were going to disappear. So they sent all these ethnologists, these archaeologists, anthropologists studying our people, our languages, our cultures. They also thought our seeds and our way of life were going to disappear too, of growing and providing food for ourselves. So they collected these seeds and they go into individual collectors, private collectors, nonprofit seed banks, federal seed banks, and a lot of them have been there since the early 1900s. And so we engage in the process called repatriation, bringing the seeds back to the original homelands. Because these seeds and these beings are seen as like feminine beings, life-giving beings like mothers. So we bring them back home and grow them and give them out to our community for free.
I think that's beautiful that you said the rematriation. It's a matriarchal thing. That's wonderful. And how you not only incorporate your family into it, but because the seeds that you're preserving is something that you have to pass on to the next generation in that way. Tell me about how you're working with the young people to tell them about these seeds.
Yeah, so through my own family, but also through the nonprofit work we're doing. So the Acoma Farm Corps, again, was one of the big pillars is growing the next generation of farmers. And so that's a lot of work. That's a lot of direct mentorship, a lot of investment, and especially long-term investment. The young people we work with, I like to give them a shout out to Hitronitzo, Iwana, and Itit. So Rebecca, Dominique, and Iwana. They are all young people we've been working with since they're about 14 years old. And so when we first started the program in 2011, these were just kids when we first started working with them. And they were the first participants engaged in the Farm Corps program. And so it took a long time investment of engaging with them. They were the ones that stuck around the most, and just it resonated with them, this work. And that was my job, to make sure that they loved what they were doing and they understood it. They understood every piece of this work, and the way it resonates with us and as part of our own being, our own culture, our way of life. Shroyukai, and this is what we call in our language, our way of life. And so literally everything in our culture and Shroyukai is based around sustaining the community, keeping the community together, and growing food.
That's what you're doing. You're not only preserving the seeds, you're preserving the culture, you're preserving the history, you're preserving what we have to be proud of, to be in New Mexico, and what makes New Mexico beautiful. Well, that's inspiring. That's the kind of work we should all be doing. Now, what is it like with the boots on the ground? What are you actually doing to preserve the seeds?
So boots on the ground, what we do every single year is we select seeds that out of a grow up plan that we have, and out of our current seed, all these seeds go towards our seed bank. And so it's a local community seed bank, and out of all these seeds, we probably have over 500 different varieties and species of ancestral seeds that are not only specific to our community in Acoma Pueblo, but bioregionally within the Southwest.
Is it all food?
It's all food and medicine, when pretty much the same thing. It can be interchangeable. Our food is medicine, or and vice versa. So we store these seeds, and we select the seeds that we are running low of, that are high in demand, and seeds that we know need to be taken care of, that haven't been regenerated in a long time. Some of these seeds, like this, what we've been terming the Acoma orange or rust-colored corn, we brought back 3 years ago now. First year grew out, we were successful. But we know that it takes a long time to regenerate the seed, enough to give out to people. So a lot of the young people we work with on the ground, we teach them, a lot of hard skills about botany, and how to create healthy seed and how to grow healthy plants. So that means a lot, but specifically with the seed, we need to make sure we have healthy seed to give out to the community. One of the other seeds that we brought back is an Acoma blue corn that was within the nonprofit seed bank that's known pretty well here in the Southwest. But that seed was was being sort of commodified and sold. And so we kindly asked for that seed back to return to the community so we can grow it out, because not a lot of that was present in the community as the Acoma blue corn. So it took us 4 years of growing out just a small initial 5 pound bag of seed. And we literally slept at that field. We made sure that we took care of our children, because that's how they view them, as literally as our children. So we made sure that that seed was guarded and protected in any way we could. There was a frost expected at one point early, and I slept down there to make sure if they're going to freeze, I'm going to freeze. So I had to make sure that, I protect these, because it's a really finite resource. So, but it took us 4 years to actually generate enough seed to grow, to give out to the community. And the reason that being is because corn especially needs a certain amount of genetic diversity in it. Otherwise, you run into what's called a inbreeding depression or bottleneck depression. And when that shows up, your plants will come out less productive. It might be more susceptible to disease, or it might have growth abnormalities. So to make sure we have healthy seed, that's what we do in our community. It's a decades-long work, honestly. And when we finally able to grow enough, we give it back to the original families. We found that were the original donors of that seed that donated back in 1987. And so those seeds were actually reunited with their relatives that had been long passed. And which was, when they got it back, they cried tears of joy to get a piece of their, relative back, and then also get to grow it now for their family.
That's a beautiful thing. And not only is it sacred work that you're doing because you're preserving the seeds, but you're preserving these stories, this history. You're and returning the seeds to their rightful owners in that way, so that they can be stewards and protect them like that. Aaron, I have a really cool question to ask you. I want to know how you like to eat your sopapillas.
All right, so let's see, sopapilla. Honestly, it's bread, right? So back home, we basically use bread as our utensil, So with stew, with beans, with anything you got, you use it, make it your sandwich. So I feel like that's the best way to eat it. Just make sure, use it like your utensil. You're just dipping your bread in there, scooping up your stew, and just like eating it like that, I think that's the best. That's why I eat sopapillas.
Oh, that's how I like it too.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that wisdom with
Yeah,
us in this
definitely.
way.
Right.
Thank you,
Thank you, man.
respect. Yes. Right on. Thanks, Aaron. Incredible work being done by Aaron and Ancestral Lands. Not just agricultural work, but cultural work. Preservation as an act of existence and resistance. What I took from our conversation is that seeds are vital not only to knowing where we came from, but also to where we're headed. But seeds need things too, like fresh air, clean water, and a healthy environment all around. Here to talk about environmental justice, to take us from the field to the campo to the courtroom. Open your heart, open your ears, and open your mind to Dr. Virginia Necochea. So would you mind introducing yourself to us and telling us what you do?
Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much for extending this opportunity to me. It just means so much to be sitting here with you, Manuel. I'm Matlakli Ometekpat, Matlakli Sekali, Dr. Virginia Necochea, and I've had the privilege and the honor of being a longtime educator, teacher, mentor, advocate, organizer, and activist here in New Mexico for what will be close to 3 decades.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Respect. Thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing your spirit with us in this way. Now tell us about the work that you do.
Yes, so all of the work that I've done here in New Mexico, starting from teaching and really learning from a lot of the elders and mentors I had in the community, have really led me to this place of fighting for the land. Like you were saying, fighting for the land, fighting for water, fighting for the people of this space. And even though I didn't take my first breath here in New Mexico, I have 4 children that were born and raised in this land. And I have just over time there's been a very special and profound connection that has been formed that has really led me to this work of what we call in our community is a masewal. And so I've been placed on this earth to truly be of service and of protection to my community and to our Mother Earth. And so my work right now for the past 6 years has been serving as the executive director of the New Mexico Environmental Law Center, And for those of you who might not know our work, our organization has been around for, it's going to be 39 years. We are truly about ensuring that our communities and our environment are safe and clean so that the children and the families of the space can thrive. Because even if we provide great health care and great education and great economic opportunity, without having a clean and safe environment, I feel that then it's limited if we don't fight to then protect our Mother Earth.
Yes, yes, we got to breathe. We have to eat. That's first and foremost. Thank you for that work that you do. Now, how does that environmental justice affect our families on a day-to-day basis like that?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you're naming the work environmental justice. And many people might not know what that work entails. So environmental justice is truly a movement that is about not just calling into question and raising awareness about these struggles that continue to happen across our state and across the U.S. and beyond, but it's really about joining with other community members and organizations to really fight for our fundamental human right to clean air, clean land, and clean water. And so that movement is really intersectional and really invites people to think about, that there's inequities that are taking place, but to really think about the role that every single one of us can play in then demanding that every single person on this earth is afforded that same clean and safe environment as everyone else.
Do you mind telling us a little bit about your story and where you come from and what brought you here like this?
Yeah, so I'm a very, very proud Chicana. Like my grandfather was a bracero, decades ago, and my parents worked the fields. And so often my life revolved around seeing my family work the land, but for others. And so that, as you can imagine, just really planted deep seeds for me about caretaking for the land, that connection to the land, but often that was for others, right, to benefit. And so that seed, that conciencia of understanding how things are not equitable and how some people work so hard and still face so many oppressions and challenges in society was in my mind and heart and spirit for so long. And then I have been engaged in ceremony and traditions for a long time.
Can you tell me about the results and the end piece of what you got?
Yeah. Wow, results. I mean, our ultimate result or what we focus on at our organization is really about strengthening environmental laws and regulations. And so when I also think about results, it's more about the impact that we've had on clients who live in communities that are facing major environmental harm and degradation. And there's so much that's happening here, even here in Bernalillo County. One work or case that we've been working on in particular involves really strengthening air quality regulations. And when you have air pollution that's being emitted by industry or other pollutants, that that air pollution doesn't stay in one place, it travels. And so our organization has been working really hard to strengthen the air permitting process. So then that way, when there's industries that are going to open or expand in our communities, that there's a better process that's going to hold industries accountable to making sure that the public health is in mind. Now, is it the best thing that we've seen or strongest thing? No, that's continued work for us. But I'd say that the results really are seen in improved health outcomes, less disease, less, increased lifespan, cleaner air for everyone. And people might not know this, but Bernalillo County, Albuquerque has received really low grades as far as air quality for the past, well, it's not even a few years, for many years. And so our work is really trying to directly bring attention to that by, again, improving air permitting regulations so that we ensure that everyone, not just communities who are in overburdened areas, but everyone across the city and the county are breathing in cleaner air. And so I really think about results as far as, our clients knowing that their health is going to improve as a result of the work that we
Yes.
do.
We have air to breathe in that way. Thank you. Now I have one more easy and fun question for you. I want to know how you like to eat your sopapillas.
Oh, because I'm originally from California, I didn't really know how to eat them when I arrived almost 30 years ago. And so I remember clearly, I was at El Patio. They're not there anymore, but I had my sopapilla, my first one, and I was one of those that put the honey on top, and I got scolded.
Oh.
Yeah, so I learned my lesson quickly about how to best eat sopapillas and not make a big mess.
Yeah,
But
it helps
now
you
I
stay
definitely,
less sticky that way. Yes.
Yes. So
No, well, thank you for being here and thank you for sharing your story and your inspiration with us in that way. Thank you, Dr. Necochea. Man, that really boiled down from something abstract to something more concrete. So I think of it as to plant a seed, you gotta get your hands dirty. It's as important as the air our kids breathe and the water they drink, from my zip code to yours. We all have a part to play in making sure we can breathe well into New Mexico's future. Making sure we dream about the future while we work in nature is something we're going to talk about next. A lot of these topics can be heavy. Our next guest welcomes us to remember the light in this work. Eli Cuna is her name. Eli brings with her an invitation to reimagine what relationships between land and economy look like in a world where reciprocity exists. Let's see what that feels like. Yes, I'm glad you're here. Now, I want to start because this is our Past the Sopapilla podcast. I'm going to start our little interview by trying to find out how you like to eat your sopapillas.
Oof. Bueno, when I arrived to this country, when I was 16 years old, I started working in Sopapilla Factory restaurant. I didn't know what was a sopapilla about. Sooner, I remember that I was using sopapilla like a tortilla. I put sopapilla everything, honey, beans, meat. So until I started thinking like, well, I'm using a little bit of the sopapilla, but sopapilla is in my heart.
No, that's all right. Then sometimes we get
But
a
pretty
little...
much the answer is I use sopapilla for everything. That's pretty much what I'm trying
That's
to
the
say.
best way to do it. Yes, yes. Well, thank you for being here with us today. Tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
Oh, muchas gracias. Pues el trabajo que hago es primeramente recordar. The work that I do is mainly rooted in remembering. So Semilla Project is rooted to remember how we are connected to the divine and to the land. And how when we are connected, deeply connected, how the air is hitting in our face. When you see the sun, when you hear the birds, when you can smell the cedar, then you remember about reciprocity and how a new world is possible.
Yes.
And that is the work of Semilla. We are committed, that new generation and ourselves, we just need to remember that all the answers and all the tools that we need to create a different economic system, a different education system, a different kind of family gathering, a policy is all in connection with nature and land.
Oh, that is beautiful. Now, when you look at New Mexico as a state, what do you think of when you think of the state of New Mexico?
Well, I think that we live in abundance. I think the fact that we opened this podcast sharing about we have universal childcare, free lunch for everybody, that is abundance.
Yes.
That is the way how we disrupt the system that are trying to let us know that we are not enough, that we do not belong, that is extraction and exploitation. So by being able to change that angle, and New Mexico has done it because we're so proud of our roots, of our culture, of our food. We remember, like as immigrant, is New Mexico who welcomed me and my family, because that is part of our values. And that abundance mindset is the way how we start transforming all the systems. So that's what I think about New Mexico, is home. And home is sacred. And even though that we have a lot of challenges and we fight among families, we always gonna remember that the best cooking happens at home.
Yes, that's
And
right.
that is what New Mexico is about.
Oh, now tell me about your day-to-day operations and how that looks like.
Well, the day-of-day operation is HR. No, just kidding. Like a budget. No. I'm just kidding. We have a team of over 24 employees and contractors. We have 3 offices, Las Cruces, Albuquerque, Santa Fe. And what we really do is that reimagine what economic system can look like for our communities. So we have 3 different farms. We feed over 200 families every week. Besides that, we take young people from early as elementary to like a college to the outdoors to remember like how cool it is to be in the outdoors and breathe like the air and enjoy and remember the universe. And then besides that, we have created a whole workforce pathway for young people when they think that, well, I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up. We tell them, hey, you can do watershed management. You can be in forestry. You can do agriculture. And all these jobs, they're not really jobs. It's a way of life to sustain our families and also to protect Pachamama. So that's pretty much what we do every day.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's like you're reevaluating and changing the way people see themselves and their place in the world and the potential of what they can accomplish. That's a beautiful thing.
I call it like we are changing the matrix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how do you do that? What does it look like? How do you change it
Believe
like
that change can happen.
Yes.
And everything is in us. And nobody's going to come and save us because we have us.
See, I think that's a beautiful thing because as New Mexico, we are sometimes at the top of the worst lists and the bottom of the best lists, but it's up to us as a people to uplift ourselves, to save ourselves and to start looking at different ways of looking at the world.
Exactly. And start educating those stakeholders, those champions out there, or those allies out there that have the resources, and educating them and make them realize by connection, by storytelling, by sharing where we're coming from, that a world is possible when extraction and exploitation and displacement is not needed. Because nature, just by going outside, nature reminds us that it's reciprocity, the way how the balance is moving forward. And we're gonna have enough. We are enough and we can have enough. And that is something really hard to embody in a leadership, in our organization, and as a movement. But that's the reason why we choose this life.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Now, how do you inspire the young people to do this type of work in this way?
Well, I don't have to inspire them because the nature inspired by themselves.
Yes.
When they go outside, when we see that the tree is giving shade, when the river is giving them water, when all the anxiety or problems that they have at home, it just disappear for a second because they are part of something bigger. That is the beauty, because we become a one. And that is like and then this is here when I'm sound a little bit hippie, but yes, that's what I believe. And we all should all believe. But that is the inspiration young people have.
Wow. And in your work, what have you learned about nature and how that's affecting us and our families in that way?
One is one simple word. Nature loves us regardless who we are. Like nature is by itself the most equitable, fair, like a relative that we're gonna have. And because it's all about reciprocity. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I have learned, because we love our identities. We get attached to our identities. We fight through our identities. And that is okay, it's part of who we are. But also remember that nature and the empathy, the patience, the love, the unconditionality is right there. Even though that we have been not so good with Mother Nature in the past decades, The sun still rise. The moon is still here. It's a remembering that there is a bigger love, that they just want us to wake up and be part of that.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing your spirit and your story with us in this way and inspiring us with your work that you do. Thank you for being here and thank you for coming. I really appreciate you joining us.
No, thank you so much, Manuel.
Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for doing the kind of work that you do. And I want to thank the community for joining us with this Past the Sopapillas podcast. It's been inspirational. I'm going to go home and write poetry about everything that we did tonight. Now, I want each of you to grab you a sopapilla and we're going to share it. Now, I did a rookie mistake when it came to the sopapillas a minute ago. I went and I doused my sopapilla in honey and then I made a mess. It started to drip and I got it all got sticky and it got in my beard. And so then I had to make a beeline to the bathroom so that I could wash all the honey off of myself. And so I'm going to try to do it the right way now as we finish out our little podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for thinking about and respecting the land in this way. This is New Mexico. This is who we are when we're at our best. This is who we are when we fight the good fight and keep pushing, keep striving, keep doing what we do. Thank you. Thank you, New Mexico. I want to say thank you to the W.K. Kellogg Foundation for making it so that we can be here today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you to our guests and to our listeners. In many ways, these stories shared today are like seeds. These stories, each planted in the ears of listeners, of doers and dreamers, of people like you. Together, we are creating growth and change. A new conversation, one where everyone speaks, thinks, and dreams. Because this is our story. We can tell it together. Voices joined in an opportunity to speak truth to power. This is our home. This is our land. Saludos. Gracias. I'm your host, Manuel Gonzalez, reminding you to follow us. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or watch us on YouTube as every week we share the table with New Mexico's most inspiring people and ideas. Past the Sopapillas is proudly presented by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation.